Investigator Alex Mastretta is desperate to encounter an alien spacecraft. So he's teaming up with local researcher and world UFO expert Tom Dongo. They set up base camp just outside Sedona in the middle of some of the most powerful rock formations on Earth. It hasn't rained in this mystical Arizona desert for nearly 4 months. And it's in this dry, parched landscape that Alex is hoping to come face to face with extraterrestrial life.
The spot we're standing on has seen some of the most intense UFO activity of any single area in the world.
Over the past 2 decades, Tom Dongo has accumulated one of the largest collections of UFO photographs anywhere, most of them taken right here and on a nearby ranch of his colleague and friend, Linda Bradshaw.
When did you take this?
That was taken about 14 years ago.
Really?
These are UFOs taking off from the ground. They're coming up out of the trees and taking off from the ground. And it's a time exposure shot.
Okay.
It's about a 3-minute time exposure.
Many of the alien spacecraft and extraterrestrial beings Dongo has photographed weren't visible to his eyes.
This is one of my favorites. This was taken on the Bradshaw Ranch about 1994, I believe.
Okay.
And again, we would walk around at night and simply take flash shots with 35mm cameras. And there were 6 people in the group that night. Here's a being that's holding something in its hands, and it has ears like Spock on Star Trek, glowing orange eyes, a very, very long face, and white clothing. And the first thing we did when we developed this photograph the next day, the first thing we did was check everybody's clothes that was there the night before, and nobody was dressed like that. So it was a being or creature that was invisible to the eye, but the camera picked it up. The human eye has a range, a narrow range of vision. It can pick up objects. But a 35mm camera has about 80% more range that it can see things, so things often will show up in film that the physical eye can't see.
Dongo's extraordinary collection contains unique images that few people in the world have captured. He claims to have taken many of these photos by simply pointing and shooting into the darkness of the desert.
Why do you think this area is at such a high level of sighting?
Well, the magic of this place is its remoteness, and it's probably one of the most beautiful spots on the planet. I think that's the main thing, is the remoteness. And for some reason, there's a lot more. UFO activity has always been consistent out here in the canyon lands.
And where is the U.S. government in all this? With so many reported UFO sightings around Sedona, the American authorities seem noticeably quiet. Researcher Tom Dongo thinks the government has a secret agenda of its own.
It's common knowledge in U.S. intelligence circles that the U.S. government has been directly dealing with aliens since 1943 and possibly back into the 30s. Well, I think the reason the government doesn't want the information released about what it has on UFOs and aliens, because the public would realize there's a power far greater than the government, and the government would basically be powerless. They'd lose their control over the people.
On many occasions, Dongo has witnessed interaction between U.S. military and UFOs.
Between 1988 and 1997, military activity out here was constant, and the jet fighter activity out here every night. And in each one of these canyons, there have been gunpoint incidents. Hikers would run into military types with machine guns, and they were all American military uniforms. I checked with high-ranking American military people, and I described the uniforms. They said, yeah, those are current uniforms, but there were never any insignias on them. So there has to be some sort of an installation back there somewhere. Yeah, about 10 years ago, there were 12 people standing on this very hilltop right here, and they heard the sounds of a jet fighter, and the jet fighter's unmistakable because of the roar they make, you know. So a fighter came across the ridge over there and down almost treetop level in the valley, and that used to happen here a lot. And a UFO, it was a white sphere of light about 25 feet across, came from the other direction. Now, keep in mind, 12 people saw this. And as the fighter and the sphere of light got closer, it was kind of like the UFO was playing a game of chicken with a fighter. Just as they were about to hit, the UFO jumped out of the way. So the fighter pilot must have had quite a fun ride there.
As one of the world's most noted UFO researchers, Dongo has accumulated more than just incredible photos and extraordinary stories. He also says he's experienced hundreds of UFO sightings and has had numerous encounters with alien life forms. Investigator Alex Mistretta is keen to see where some of these supposed bizarre events have occurred.
I was actually up on this hill one night, coming back from the Bradshaw Ranch, and driving down the road. In the distance, there was a white light that was pacing my truck in the trees. It was a disc-shaped craft about 50 feet across. It had multicolored lights flashing all around the base of it. I was so tired that night. In my mind, I said, you know, I'm really not in the mood for this kind of crap tonight. The second that that thought appeared in my mind, the craft stopped in the air, hung there for a few seconds, and then in an instant was gone over the horizon. So whoever they were hearing my thoughts.